guess what, guys? I signed up for a half marathon. For those of you that don't know me, my whole life I have been a strength athlete or sprinting. I did softball growing up. I never did any long distance. All we did was sprinting in softball because the bases are super short. The longest that we went was from home to home. So there's not much that we need to do for long distance. Then I got into CrossFit. But when I was in CrossFit, I avoided long distance like it was a plague. Like, even if it was like rowing long distance or running long distance or what have it, I was not having it. I liked lifting things and putting it back down. I liked going fast. I did not like endurance at all. And then I went into weightlifting, which is all about putting heavy things over top of your head and putting it back down. I competed full time for about like 5 years of that. And so yeah, like I've always been a strength athlete. I've always been into sprinting. I have never been interested in doing long distance until now. As of leading in today, I have never done more than, well, I've never completed a 10K race. I have done multiple 10Ks in training because last summer I decided to get a little bit into running. I was like, hey, like I'll run a 5K. I'm starting to enjoy this. Maybe I'll push myself to do a 10K. I never got a chance to do a 10K race because I got sick right before then. I was hospitalized. And nothing crazy, guys. Don't worry. It was honestly super embarrassing. I got an infection. I didn't even know it was an infection. I thought it was my period. And then one day it hit and I was like, oh, I think I need to go to the hospital. Yeah, it was a super easy fix, but my body was just recovering at that time. So I figured I'd just do a 5K instead of a 10K because I hadn't been able to do any of the training for a couple weeks leading up into it anyways. So by the way, like a 10K is, I think if I remember right, about like 6.2-ish miles. And so a half marathon is double that. It is 21K. So it's about like 13.1 miles. I have never done anything like that before. And so it's going to be a bit of a challenge, 100%. Reason why I decided to do this is, honestly, I think the biggest reason why is pushing past self-limiting beliefs and always like challenging myself. Like I just said before, I've always said that I just don't do long distance. This self-limiting belief type of box that I've created myself in, like labeling things. I'm just not this person. I'm just not doing this. Just like many of us go into, I'm just that person that could never do a pull-up, or I could never track food, or I'm never going to see results. Like you're literally just, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And so my whole life, I've always had that very limited mindset, that fixed mindset. And it did not serve me well. And once I started learning that having more of a growth mindset of I am capable of creating this change, I am capable of challenging myself, I am capable of doing hard things, that has only added benefit to my life. To the point where I was a girl that was over 200 pounds, struggling with my relationship with food, saying, I'm just this person. I'm just not in shape. I can never keep it off. I could never do a pull-up. I could never do all these things. To, no, I can do hard things. And now I'm running a business teaching other people how to be healthy. It's just like, again, that type of transition in my life, a lot of times it's like, pinch me. I can't believe I've come this far. But I've never would have been able to do it if I didn't have that mindset. But that type of mindset, it's kind of like a muscle. You always have to train that mindset. You always have to keep building upon that. You can't just get complacent with it because you might revert back to your old mindset. So that's something that I've always tried to do in my life, is to always set goals that scare me, that push me outside of my comfort zone, that give me the butterflies, because that's where the magic happens. When we stay within our comfort zone, nothing really happens. If anything, we might potentially revert back to what we're trying to get better from. And so I saw myself one day saying self-limiting beliefs of, oh, I don't think I could ever do that. And now I got to do it. Now I have to do it. So I was like, okay, great. I guess we're going to do a race this year. I get back to running. And I was like, okay, I'll just do a 10K. But like last summer I had already done it in training. And so I was like, well, that's not really out of my comfort zone. So I guess I'm just going to have to do a half marathon, which butterflies just saying that out loud on this podcast. I've got butterflies in my stomach, which again, when you do hard things, we need to push ourselves out of that comfort zone. So I signed up for a half marathon. The day that I decided it, because self-sabotage will come in. Like self-sabotage, the thought process of like, oh, I just can't do it. I don't believe in myself. Like all these different patterns and choices that come in. Self-sabotage is a bitch, and it will always try to come in and try to ruin things. So I didn't allow it to happen. As soon as I made that decision, I was like, well, one way to get away, one way to not allow self-sabotage to come in is by simply just taking action now. The first half marathon that I could see, that was half marathon out of nowhere. I don't hate myself. I signed up for it. So I signed up for the half marathon in October, I believe. I'm looking at my calendar right now. It's like right there. The 19th. That should be a fair amount of time for me to build up realistically with my busy schedule, based off of my previous experiences, which I don't have a huge baseline on endurance running. So you just have to be realistic. It's going to take me longer to build up than, let's say, somebody that has been doing endurance running for years or ever since they were a young kid. They'll be able to build up a lot faster than I could. And so October is the day. I also decided to do something in between as like a tester. So I signed up for a 10K in April 20th. So that way I can like have a mid goal in between. So a 10K is going to be, again, it's going to be about like 6.2-ish miles versus a half marathon is going to be 13.1. So it's going to be like a halfway mark right there and building up and doubling that within that time period. So that way I'm very goal oriented. I need to see things on the calendar. I need to sign up. I need to pull the trigger. I need to take action. Otherwise I will overthink things. I will come up with excuses and all that stuff. So I paid money already. It's down. It's in my calendar. It's written down right here. I've got this big, huge calendar on my wall right here. You can't see it, but I always have it right there to see what the big picture is, what my goals are. So the big reasons why I signed up for a half marathon, again, is just like pushing past the self-limiting beliefs, but there's also other reasons. Lately, I have just been feeling really like merp with my training. There was even like a month or two where I just like, I had no love for the gym. I did not want to go. I was very, very inconsistent. And I started seeing that my mood started declining. I was less willing to take care of myself in other ways. It was just really affecting me. Like me moving my body has a huge hand, not only on my physical health, but my mental health as well. Just helping me become like, be the best person I can be. So I was like, dude, okay, why am I inconsistent? Why am I not showing up? Why am I not loving the process anymore? Because typically like working out and things like that isn't hard for me. I've had a lot of years of making that part of a habit or a part of my identity. So there's not a lot of resistance to me doing that. But for some reason, I was feeling a lot of resistance. And I was like, okay, what is it? Like I was trying to like rack my brain. And I think the big reason why is because I am not really driven off of aesthetics. That's not a big, huge driver for me. I'm just in this like in this period of my life where I don't give a shit about what other people think about me. Like I don't drive my value off of how I look. How I look is more of a happy benefit to the journey that I have fallen in love with, which is actually more performance based. How can I challenge myself? What is a big goal that I can do? How can I use my fitness to live my life, to create memories and so on and so forth? That is more of a big driver for me, an intrinsic goal versus an extrinsic. So extrinsic is very surface level, validation from others, things like that, versus intrinsic, it's deeper. And I always talk about this with with my clients, is that if you want to get lifelong change, if you really want this to be a lifelong thing, we've got to get beyond the surface level and get deeper than that. And the reason being is because when life gets tough, when life wants to throw shit at you, you've got to have something deeper to keep going. Like, I want to look better naked versus I'm doing this for my kids. I'm doing this for my clients. I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this because if I don't do this, I'm not going to be my best self to my significant other. And they deserve my 100% because they always give me 100% too. right? Those are bigger drivers for when I just don't feel like waking up early and working so I can get my workout done later. I'm still going to get out because that deeper, I'll be honest with you, that it's just not what works for me. And so I was doing this to look better naked, just kind of be a healthier, kind of just showing up, getting it done and leaving, versus like I have a goal. I sign up for that. That's on my calendar. No, I'm going to show the fuck up. And I start loving it a little bit more. I start seeing like the day-to-day progress of me getting a little bit better at running. My technique is getting better. I'm breathing better. I'm like, the running seems easier. I don't feel so fatigued. Like, all these little day-to-day stuff adds up, and I feel more accomplished doing that. And lately, adding my running goal in there, I've started to feel the love of training again. Right? Again, it's like it's less of working out and it's more of training. I feel like I have more purpose with my training that I have. And so I've actually looked forward to going to the gym. I've actually looked forward to my running. I look forward to planning things out in my week and being like, this is my training schedule and all that stuff too, which has helped with consistency as well. But because I'm finding joy in it. And because I'm finding joy, I'm finding purpose. It's more intrinsic. I'm finding that I'm more disciplined with the things I need to be doing. I think that's a common mistake that a lot of people make, is that in order to be more disciplined, we just need to like white knuckle through things. And that's not how that works. It's actually directly against how psychology works. By the way, guys, majority of what you see online from fitness professionals is directly against common basic psychology when it comes to behavior change. You just need to try harder. You just need a white knuckle. A lot of times it's coming from like self-hate type of help, right? And it's just like, that's not actually how we create lifelong change, just to be honest with you. Okay. So I'm starting to find more joy. I'm starting to find more purpose. I'm starting to get more excited about things. Therefore, I'm becoming more disciplined. I'm being more consistent with my training too, which is what I've wanted to see because I was lacking that. Another big reason why is because it's become like an outlet for me too. If I don't have my me time, I can see myself kind of dwindling. My resiliency to stress goes down. My willingness to talk to other people and help people goes down just because I'm not creating me time. And so normally it would be going to the gym, but sometimes I do feel like going to the gym and lifting weights is more of a job rather than a hobby or me time. I feel like, yeah, like I feel like that is the line, because like strength training is a little bit more of what we do. And so I needed a little bit more of a side outlet that has nothing to do with my job. It still kind of does, but not really. It feels like it doesn't. It feels like that's me. That's the time for me. Nobody needs to be talking to me. I don't need to film this. I don't need to do anything. It's just me showing up for me, putting the work, being proud of my efforts, and leaving. I feel like that little bit of me time helps me. I also get to catch up on, like, sometimes I listen to podcasts. Sometimes I listen to TV shows while I'm doing it. I don't know. On a treadmill, I've been watching some of my Netflix TV shows too. So it's been fun that way too. So I'm finding joy in it. But lately I've also found that it's bringing me in contact with like a lot of really great people. I think that's another benefit of getting into like different types of modality of fitness, is that you get to meet new people, get new perspectives, create more connections, figure out what you do and don't like. How do you know if you don't do or don't like something unless you try it? And so getting connected with different types of people and all that stuff too, it's been a lot of fun. Made a lot of friends through this, and I'm just starting. So I can't wait to see what happens after some consistency of training. Okay. So the way that I'm going to be training for this is going to be more of a hybrid approach. I'm still going to be doing strength training. And the big reasons why I'm going to be doing strength training is because, one, I want to be able to maintain as much muscle mass as possible while I'm running more. I do run the risk of losing some muscle mass when I'm going more into running. It is what it is. When you're starting to run, it can create that, but you can mitigate that as much as possible by also adding in some strength training. With my strength training, I probably won't be doing as much as I did before. I believe the split that I'm currently going to be going into to start off with is going to be 3 days of strength training. It's going to be more of a full body approach, but I'm not going to be in the gym for very long. It's probably going to be like 45 minutes tops. That's it. In and out. I'm going to be more of a full body approach. So still be hitting like all the different muscle groups each time that I work out. So that way I don't become overly fatigued in one area. And then I'll probably add like one fitness class in there just for some fun, get a little bit of a pump and have some fun with the community. I recently started coaching at a gym and they've got an awesome barbell club class on Saturdays that I just love showing up at. There's so many people. We do some dope crap in there. We just like throw down and have some fun. I don't go overly heavy, but I just like, I love feeling explosive. I love feeling powerful. Those movements, it really kind of gets me back into like weightlifting and having fun. And then we do like a little bit of a bro pump at the end. It's a lot of fun. We've recently been doing a little bit of sprint work too. So I add my run in before, and then I go into the class and just kind of be like, okay, how do I feel? What can I do? Probably won't go heavy, or I feel a little bit better, maybe a little bit heavier, things like that. So that way I keep what's the big focus first, and then whatever I have left, I'll put it into the class too. So that's more of like filling my cup on connection and being around people. But that's going to be the training split. So like, again, like part of it's going to be focusing on running. Part of it's going to be focusing on training. But the strength training too, I also want to make sure that I'm staying healthy during that time. I want to make sure that I'm doing strength training to keep all my ligaments and joints nice and healthy. I'm also doing a lot of single leg stuff as well, but also making sure that I'm working on different planes of movement as well to make sure that I'm staying well rounded and healthy to prevent injury. So we're still going to be doing strength training during that time. But on the running side of things, again, it's going to be 3 days a week. I have strength training Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Running is going to be Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, but I'm going to do a double day on Saturday and do the class after my running. And right now the volume is not super high. So the amount of miles that I'm running within the week is not super high. I think right now, I did like 2.2 mile runs 3 days this week. And then each week is going to be about maybe like a 10% increase from there. So we're taking more weekly mileages than anything. And we can break up those miles however I want. So, which I actually love because it allows me to have flexibility and adaptability. Like we'll have like a framework, but let's say that next week I do 2.6. And Wednesday I just like did not eat or very well, or I didn't sleep and I just felt like crap. Maybe I can do like a mile and a half and then make up for the rest of it in another workout. So that way the mileage for the week still adds up to the total that I need to be doing. It allows me a little bit more flexibility and adaptability, which I really love. I'm not necessarily inherently trying to be 100% perfect at this. I'm not trying to win a gold medal or anything like that. It's not that serious. I'm just trying to increase my volume over a weekly basis and just focus on really great technique, breathing, which is the hardest for me. So hard. And making sure that like I'm keeping my heart rate nice and even, kind of improving that over a period of time and just having some fun with it. That's basically what I'm looking for. So I will be adding in, like, I do need to add in more stretching. I'll be honest with you. I will own my shit. I have not been doing a lot of mobility and stretching. I have, but I haven't. Like I've been doing it after my workouts when I have a little bit more time. It's not like I'm not doing it at all, but I should be better at it. Right now, again, the mileage is not very high at all. It's not. But sooner or later in my training, especially after the 10K, it's going to get challenging. So I need to focus on recovering more during that time. So I should probably put more into that, maybe a little bit of like low intensity yoga in there and through the week periodically, maybe like time blocking, like at least 10 minutes of stretching every single day. I just haven't yet. So I'm not perfect, guys. Back off. But I'm definitely going to be focusing on that because the last thing I want to do is not take care of myself and put all that effort only to get injured. I am prone to like plantar fasciitis. I am prone to little injuries here and there. I tore my left ACL in college, so I am a little bit worried about my left knee. Luckily, I haven't had any major issues after I got surgery, but I've never done anything like this, right? I've never done this much volume of training. I'm assuming that my technique could get better from there. So that's just things that I want to pay attention to. But also during this time, my goals are going to be slightly shifting. Okay. So like, again, my main focus is more performance. So it's not necessarily aesthetics. And For those of you that are like, but isn't that like, can I do both at the same time? Not necessarily. So like one way to think of it is think of it as like a triangle. Like at one point it's performance, another point is aesthetics, another point is going to be health. Now you can have a main focus and maybe have some side benefits, like a secondary goal, like a primary, secondary, tertiary goal. But there is a cost to whatever you're focusing on. Okay. So if you're focusing on aesthetics, what you need to do to focus on aesthetics is more than, because when you look better naked, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to perform better and or be healthier. The same thing if I want to focus on health, well, then your performance and your aesthetics goals might need to go in the back burner. If you're focusing on performance, then your health goals and your aesthetics goals might need to go in the back burner. Now, sometimes you can see a happy side effect. Sometimes you can kind of lean a little bit more, but you just have to be realistic with those expectations. So I'm leaning more towards performance. That means that I may have to understand that I might see a little bit of drop in my health and also my aesthetics. And I'm 100% okay with that. Can I possibly see a side benefit of maybe my cardiovascular health improving? Yes. Or like I might see some body recompositions. Yes. But like I'm realistically, if I want to perform better, I can't be in a calorie deficit. So I might see some body recomposition changes. I might see my body changing, but I won't inherently see that I'll be losing weight or getting six-pack abs or anything like that, unless I do undereat, which I am intuitive eating. I'm going to do my best not to undereat. I'm going to listen to my cues. I'm going to eat when I'm hungry. I'm going to make sure that I'm eating enough carbohydrates, really around my workouts too. But if I accidentally undereat, I might see some weight drop, but my goal is to stay properly fueled and perform well. So that might be a side benefit that I might see. But realistically, I would never expect me to focus on fat loss during a performance thing like this, which if you've never done any long distance, I don't suggest trying to do a lot of running during your fat loss goals. You can. There's so many people that do that, but it just makes it a little bit harder because if you've ever done like long distance running or a lot of cardio, it makes you so hungry. It makes you so hungry, it increases your appetite so much. So it's very hard to be adherent to your calorie deficit if you are running. Just saying, just full disclosure. Okay. So that's also like something that I just need to be realistic. I'm going to be hungry. It's going to be very hard to stick with a calorie deficit during this time. So it's not inherently my main goal. So could I potentially see a change in body composition? Yeah. Could I potentially see a little bit of increase in health? Yeah, but that's not the main goal. And realistically, I may see a decline in those. I might lose a little bit of muscle mass. I might see myself a little bit more fatigued over a period of time or things like that. Or my body might be a little bit more stressed than if I didn't do that. But knowing those pros and cons, nothing's ever perfect. I'm okay with those. And I'm really excited about this goal. So I can't wait to do it. So over a period of time, I'll give you guys updates. I'll talk more about like what are my training splits for me. I'm going to be one of his guinea pigs. We're going to just have some fun. He's in the middle of still trying to like figure out the programming. So once we have that, I'll probably sit down and go a little bit more specific of the training split that I'm going to be doing. I'll also give you recaps of how things are going, the running. I'm also diving into getting like, I'm having a little fun with like, so I'll give you guys updates on that and just share my experience. And if you want to listen, okay, great. If not, that's okay too. Either one. But other than that, I just want to guys give you a heads up. I'm doing a half marathon and I'm a little scared. So wish me luck. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into another podcast episode. You know where to find me if you have any questions. If not, go ahead and like in the show notes below, you can grab my Instagram. I honestly respond to that just as much as text messages. So you can DM me there. Also feel free to comment in the comment section if you're watching the YouTube video as well. I'll go in and answer those. Or if you have any suggestions, comments, anything like that, please let me know.